free agency was quite a bit different than last, and ultimately it was rooted in the idea of discipline, knowing that we have 11 draft picks later this spring, and we're going to have to allow for some runways for those players to be able to find their footing. A lot of the work for this free agency was specific to our own.
Duval just signed. Can't wait to get back.
Well, at the same time, you don't want to disregard external options.
What's that number?
Working alongside our coaching staff, working alongside our support staff, scouting staff, analytics staff to really shape the way in which we're going to attack the draft, knowing that we got a lot of at-bats, so to speak. So should be a fun little deal.
And just like that, the Jaguars season ended abruptly with a deflected ball interception by the Buffalo Bills, and the Jacksonville Jaguars fall 27-24 to end their season after a 13-4 regular season campaign.
Playoffs are the playoffs, man. They're brutal.
It ends.
They give and they take.
That's
how it goes.
Dave, it ends, and it's all of a sudden it's over, and you think, wait, we're too good. We got to still be playing football right now.
Season ended probably earlier than you hoped, but are you at a point where you can say this was a fun season overall?
Oh yeah, it was an awesome season as far as fun, just the experience with this team coming together. Obviously, how it changed throughout the season, the growth, the steps that we took as a team. I mean, there were so many good things, so many positive things to look at. Obviously, we left a lot out there at the end of it, and we feel like we had a real shot if we could have kept playing and found a way to win yesterday. It's life, and unfortunately, you put a lot of time and work into it, and you don't always get the result that you want.
Tough way to end the year. Anytime you're gonna not end up winning every single game. A lot of teams, 31 other teams, are gonna be having the same exact meeting. And that sucks. That's the hard part, but we chose this profession, we chose this life. As a staff, guys, cannot thank you enough for the time, effort, trust, work that you guys put into this from the get-go, from the very start. Now, we got a bad taste in our mouth that will linger. Got a bad taste in our mouth that we will have to fuel and be our edge all off season. But when we come back, to know this feeling right now that we have, sitting in this meeting right now, we don't want to feel like this again. When do you learn about yourself? When do you learn? Through adversity, through hard times, through the bad. That's when we learn about ourselves. We get the opportunity to reflect, come back, and reload. That's the mindset. I love you guys. That was fun. It was a great year. A lot of work to be done though. A lot of work to be done. Love you guys. Jags on 3, 1, 2, 3. Jags.
Last season was certainly successful in a lot of ways. You still have that bitter taste in your mouth that kind of drives you throughout the off-season program, and there's 31 teams that are not thrilled at this time of year. We're all 0-0, ready to go for the next season, and really nothing that you did the year before truly matters, right? It's every year. That's what's really cool about the National Football League. But we do have our bigger thoughts of where we'd like to go, and there's so much room for improvement.
As I think back on this past year in totality, I think there were a lot of meaningful steps forward. Now we're at a stage where we got to be really intentional about what comes next and focus a lot of energy on finding means to elevate on the areas in which we felt like we were able to establish firmly this past season and continue to improve so that this time next year we're able to say some similar things and share similar sentiment around, being proud of the progress that we've made, while at the same time being really optimistic about what lies in front of us.
It didn't end like they wanted it to end because expectations changed. We all felt like they could potentially get to San Francisco, but moving forward, they got a coach and they have a quarterback. Everything else will follow.
It does look bright moving forward, but you get to these off seasons and you do have to fine tune. You do have to look at rosters. You do have to find solutions to problems.
Jack, to have everybody back in the building, I think this is the first touch point upon return. So I know Liam will probably talk through a few coaching related items before we wrap here. To start, I do want to walk through really the scouting operation over the course of this offseason, knowing that we can clean up a few bigger picture items for everybody so that we kind of all have a firm grip on really what lies directly in front of us. And I think as you guys kind of look, as we continue to evolve how we evaluate players, how we make decisions around building out a team, we've done our part to really put some energy and effort into the order in which we go about that, and really the order in which we establish the baseline profiles on each individual player. Look towards the next couple of weeks. The combine is roughly 2 weeks away, and if you're not already aware, coaches are not going to be in person in Indianapolis. Instead, we're going to use that time here in Jacksonville to really work through our first discussion surrounding the free agent landscape, and then also we try our best to be as consistent as possible and rooting ourselves in football first and making it so that anybody that begins to dive into assessing each player does so with an authentic football exposure. I just want to make sure it's very much understood that we're doing our part to make sure that you guys can focus your attention on the main thing. Add clarity to the evaluation process without taking away from that main thing, and ensure that when it comes to what we're prioritizing, it's rooted in authentic football exposures, not distracted by on-field workouts, or let's call it abbreviated interactions like 15 minutes at a combine. We will still absorb that information and that touch point, but we're treating it a little bit differently. So wanting to do our part to focus energy on the order in which everybody watches players so that we're all being grounded in the same original line of thinking and aligned through the same lens, and add context from there is as helpful as we found the decision-making process to be. Big picture, some of the items that remain in front of us as it relates to these important dates. On Blackwater, when you go into the homepage, you can see it up there on the screen. The important dates are also listed there on that ribbon on the right. Blackwater is our internal scouting system, and while it can house a ton of information, it's really become a primary tool for communication. Once in the system, I'll show you here, you got this hamburger menu in the upper right-hand corner. This is how you're going to navigate a lot of what you do. Right now we're on the pro side. You can see the 3 different types of reports. You're going to be consistently asked the same 2 questions in your evaluation. You're going to be asked whether or not you want that player to be a Jaguar. And then you're going to be asked whether or not you agree or align with the collective understanding. It allows our scouting staff, our coaching staff, our analytics group, our medical group, our performance staff to all share perspective and present that essentially in a way that's palatable and consumable for everybody to soak up, and essentially create versions of alignment and understanding so that by the time we make a decision, we feel as good about it as possible. If you're on a player list, you can see these little drop-down menus,
right? I expanded it even further. So you got the one-liner, the superpower, the kryptonite. You can see at the bottom of that display some colors. You actually see some new buckets populate. You can see a high, a mid, a low.
That was established before my arrival, which is great. It's allowed us the luxury of being able to evolve that and enhance it over the last calendar year and continue to add elements that otherwise didn't exist, but certainly provided a good platform for quick development.
You can see a little degree temperature, you can see the emojis populate, you can see the description of each. You'll see critical factors, you'll see position skills, you'll start to see makeup and body type information. You'll see the Jaguar DNA. We want to use that to determine what type of conversation do we have? Where do we need to work to align ourselves on a deeper level? It's curating our conversation before ever getting into a large group setting. We want to make sure that we do our part to prepare for the meeting in a more efficient and effective way. A lot of this stuff is clickable. You can click into a player page here. You can go to a stats tab. You can go to makeup tab and read more information. But all this stuff is pretty user-friendly and also pretty in-depth.
I know that with the presence of Jake Temme, who I have a decade of experience working alongside, been able to fuse essentially scout intuition with data analytics, and that's a powerful bridge.
Everything we preached on the right person, the right player, to get someone of his caliber, that person is so rare.
There you go. That's it, right there.
So you're saying he's what we're hunting up?
Well, as good a bet as we can make.
That's where I landed.
Yeah.
You're making bets no matter what. I like that bet.
Right.
What I do is facilitate the technology, so anything with data, information, how we scout, and then also some version of just assisting in every facet of the process, so whether that's free agency, the draft, etc., just kind of helping provide technology and data to help us answer questions and do that to the best of our ability. What I'm going to get into immediately is really the idea of it's the wisdom of the collective and how we're going to capture that. And that's going to be through overall average. It started with the St. Louis Rams in 2014. That was my first gig. I built the scouting system in St. Louis, where we ended up building JARS in 2015. It was a communication hub. So it was a place where anyone could go, whether it didn't matter the department, but you knew if you went into JARS, there was a way that you could communicate out a message to the whole staff. It was almost like a pyramid of information, where at the top, Les was consuming it all. So James helped build that. He helped build that process. So then in coming to Jacksonville, it was easy to say, hey, the first thing we can do is let's nail this system. Let's make sure that this is our vehicle to communicate, that our vehicle to make sure everyone's on the same page, to get all these different voices and opinions aggregated in a way that then we can use to make decisions. This is kind of how our system operates. It's October 1st, we'll distribute 15 receivers to 10 different evaluators. All 10 evaluators will do that in an isolation. They have a week to do those 15 players. They have full capacity to look at the entire page. So if they want to look at stats and they want to launch video from stats, they can do that. If they want to go into the psych testing, if they want to go into notes, so on and so forth, they can navigate through that entire system and be able to kind of dive into anything that's relevant for them. Like an example of one segment of it is the next-gen stats data, which is the chips and the shoulder pads. Every player has it every Sunday. It's every 10th of a second. We get a GPS reading off of that. So it's truly billions of rows of data that come out of just that segment of our platform. The human brain can't comprehend all the stuff that's going in there. We need some version of being able to synthesize, analyze, come back with, hey, this is what's important throughout all of this noise. One thing we've done also is we'd have our scouts say, hey, what's some fact that you'd like to tell a coach? So we call it a did you know? And it's stats associated with our team. So, hey, did you know that Travis Hunter played more snaps than any other rookie on our team this year? Being able to give a fact to a coach or give a fact to anyone who's analyzing a player and say, hey, this is some piece of information that seems, whether it's analytically relevant, might just be Carter Bradley's from Jacksonville, whatever it is, some version of kind of getting a dialogue rolling, and then have some version of a water cooler, which is what we call it, which is like a non-formal dialogue around why you saw it this way. One thing that James learned from Les and that he does an unbelievable job at is keeping his own opinion out of the mix. If James were to say his opinion, now everyone, it's an echo chamber. No one really wants to say, if James says, I think this player's no good, it's hard for the next person up to be like, well, I disagree. So we keep his information only displayed to him and Liam. Those are the only two people that can see it. That has proven to be a competitive advantage for us in Los Angeles. It's going to be a competitive advantage for us in Jacksonville with being able to just aggregate information in a way that doesn't give weight to one person over another, but really it values the collective opinion.
In a good spot.
Cool. Good. All good, guys? Cool. All right, great. Thanks, James. Appreciate it, bro. Good job, Jake. Hey, man. Good. You're wicked smart, huh? All right, guys. Jay's gonna pass out a couple documents for you. Welcome back. Hope you guys got away, got a little break. Be nice to have a real off season, maybe. It's my first off season in 5 years without moving, so I'm personally pretty excited about it. And
year two, I think it's extremely important for the sake of, there's a lot of teams that, can catch fire and have a great year. And so sustained success is extremely important. You try to create standards of performance, of character, of mode of operation, and, being able to retain a lot of the coaches, be able to sign some of our own guys, to be able to retain those guys and go into this off season just with a little bit of a leg up in terms of the way that we operate.
Obviously, guys, we have two new coaches, Matt Arujo and Brian Picucci. Matt came from Miami, Picucci came from Tampa. So, a couple of things to go over.
We know each other more. We know how to press each other's buttons in order to, come to certain conclusions and decisions. And so let's really hone in on those small areas in which we can improve, those edges, if you will, that we're trying to sharpen and fine tune so that, man, when we hit the grass and we get into meetings, we are as efficient as possible.
When it comes to our edge, right? We're constantly trying to find our f***ing edge, right? And as we go into year two, year one, extremely important, right, guys, for setting the tone and establishing the way that we want to operate, the way that we want to play, and going through that. I think we did that, okay? There is no year more important than year two. There's no year. Because, man, let's be honest, there's been a lot of f***ing one-hit wonders. And so, what are we doing to separate ourselves to make sure that that never f***ing happens?
We have to improve. Like, if we just stay stagnant, reload it, do everything the exact way that we did it last year, well, we're going to end up with the same result. If they focus on those areas, those small areas, well, that's going to help our entire team at the end of the day.
Anybody got anything? All good? All right, ready to break? All good. We'll go at 10:15.
The finals of the Coach of the Year, ladies and gentlemen, Liam Coen.
Thank you. Appreciate this. You guys got me? Can you hear me? Perfect. Thank you guys for being here today. First of all, would like to thank John Summerall and the University of Florida for having me. You talk about full circle moments of coaching in this profession and being a part of football. I bought John Summerall's home in 2021 at a discounted rate. I then turned around and flipped it like a month later for a nice gain on my part. So thank you, Summy. I really appreciate it, pal. Thank you. But John Summerall, head coach at Florida, is a good friend of mine. We worked together at Kentucky, and we've stayed in close contact, and I really appreciate the way he coaches. I appreciate the way he communicates. I think he's going to do a great job at Florida.
You know, talk about football, what it does for you, what it does for people. Man, these are the relationships that we build. What a great honor to be here, especially.
It starts with the relationship, but I think it's cool to be able to go and spread football, right, and just talk ball with people.
I'll get rolling, though. One thing I want to speak with you guys about a little bit here is how to attack in the red zone. First and foremost, the ball is the most important thing. In the red area, guys, it is at a premium to be able to run the football in. And we've got to win one-on-one matchups, right? We've got to help them make that one-on-one as favorable as possible. That's our job, to put these guys in a position to be successful, better than the guys that we're coaching against.
I did so many of those clinics as a young coach, and when I was at Brown and Maine and UMass, and you're constantly trying to go and evolve and learn and grow.
And your quarterback, man, it's like, give them the freedom. Let's get off schedule and create. It's the last thing defensive coaches want to hear. It's the last thing they want to see on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday is the quarterback extending the play and being able to navigate these areas on the field.
To provide that, I think, is somewhat of a responsibility that we have as coaches in the National Football League, because it is the highest level of competition. And so that's not just for the players, but for the coaches as well.
But this is ultimately, guys, what it's all about. Like, when your best players are competing to the standard that somebody just talked about, this is when you know you got their attention. That's when you know, hey man, we got them listening. Now we can keep our thumb on them and go further. Continue to elevate the standard.
Look, high school, college, Division III, II, FCS, FBS, doesn't matter. There's good football coaches at every level. And so to be able to share some of that knowledge, meet people, relationships, shoot, I might meet somebody we end up hiring someday. So take advantage of them when you can.
Hope I helped you out, gave you something that you could take. I've gone to so many of these clinics, guys, since I was 4 or 5 years old. Keep finding the why. Plays are awesome, but go find out the why. Ask these guys as many questions, ask as many questions. Pleasure being here. Can't thank somebody enough, guys. Thank you very much, man.
I consider myself both a teacher and a learner, so I do think I'm both, and try to do my part to lean into the latter as much as possible, and really enjoy the people that I'm surrounded by, because they push me in that way endlessly. And I think about a couple different people over the last year who have done their part to really help level me up, but also our process up, and I'm very thankful for everybody that's poured into it and allowed us to shape it in a way that we feel really strongly about.
As we shift gears a little bit away from that to start off, I do want to walk through really this phase of the process, why it's something that I have a lot of appreciation for, and what it's gonna look like over the course of the next 2 weeks. Really, with the Scouting Summit in general, I want to make sure that this week and a half, 2 weeks is something that we take full advantage of, being able to pour into each other, pour into our process, really create it together, enhance it together, because it's one thing for me to say this is what we're doing. It's a whole nother thing for us to shape it together along the way. And that's what I look forward to doing during this time, and then exiting knowing that your feedback along the way is going to continue to stimulate its growth.
I've personally felt the pains of, finding things that work for me and struggling to change those. So I know that firsthand, just how hard it can be, but I also really enjoy the process of challenging my own ways of operating, and am endlessly curious about different ways of operating. And I think that by showcasing that myself, it can allow the larger group to be open to it as well.
365 days a year, you're always looking for the answers, right? Like, each player's a library. You you could go in every day and pull a book from the shelf. You still want to read every book. There's always more to be done. There's always more digging to be done.
Stay hungry. Convert every edge, every hand into data. Search for new edges. Stay foolish. Have the courage to act on those edges before others notice.
You know, I come from a background of teachers and coaches, so I think through that, understand the importance of sharing the why behind things and, you know, checking for understanding throughout, while at the same time being open to remaining agile.
I do also want to reiterate, in life there are very few absolutes. It's the same way in scouting. This is not an absolute. It's not to guarantee wins. It's not to say it's exactly what we'll do every time. There needs to be some level of agility.
You know, I think through that it allows us to endlessly feel like we can challenge the norms for not only how we operate, but also how the larger, you know, scope of the NFL does, and see if there's any edges that we can capture as a part of it.
It's not an elementary dialogue that I'm searching for over the course of this week and a half, 2 weeks. It's really trying to get beyond just those entry-level conversations.
They all run in conjunction with one another. They all tie together well enough to where they build off of one another. And being able to stack those conversations from free agency to draft, trade opportunities, it allows the full picture to start to present itself. And a big piece to the puzzle there is me being open-ended in absorbing perspectives, absorbing insights from different entities and different stakeholders, knowing that while I have my own opinion, the collective is a very powerful piece to the puzzle, and it's something we lean heavily into.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Sorry for the delay. A couple points of emphasis here. We were talking to your significant other.
Oh,
Yeah, all right.
By the way, we were on the stairs talking national, so it's your fault.
Touche. Kind of day. Mm-hmm. All right, so with that, we asked our players two things, right? We just failed at one.
No, but you protected the team, I bet.
But I'm going to ask everybody in this room to follow the second here.
Just want us to at least put some point of emphasis on it before we get diving too far into a lot of the discussions that we'll have, not only today, but throughout the course of this offseason. Did enjoy thoroughly reading through those comments and how quickly you guys just applied the idea of the water cooler.
We've made a conscious effort to shift the idea that any of our meeting settings are unlike a boardroom setting and more like a conversation at the water cooler. We try to keep it far more rooted in just real talk than it is a presentation. And, you know, over time, it becomes easier to have that become the norm.
I don't plan for really this conversation and many of our conversations to be, hey, we're going to pull up player one, we're going to read line by line on our reports and takeaways, and then move on to the next player and the next player after that. I want a lot of stuff to be free-flowing and open-ended. We're going to try and do this by position, but also try to zoom out to some of the bigger picture items that lie in front of us at each of those, and really the questions to answer as we approach free agency and the draft.
As I peek back to a lot of my growth in the space, in particular with my time with the Rams, the way in which we structured meetings was a real focus point. And being able to create a space in which it was open lines of dialogue, and the goal was to find the best plan of attack moving forward as opposed to just prove your point, was always something we tried to keep top of mind and surface.
Is there anything across our defensive front, IDL or DEs, that needs to be flagged?
We were able to step back off the heels of our final game. Both offense, defense, special teams, able to assess where things stood across the roster, areas of improvement, areas that we felt we could lean deeper into moving forward.
So that's really where our conversation needs to go.
This guy can make plays on the ball, he's sticky. He can be
a protector and play pass.
The other guys were hurt. That's not the same.
Is it really going to look any different?
Each coach really evaluates each of their players, and then from a broader picture, the coordinators also do it.
I plan on inserting him at that left wing spot.
His value is probably more off the field than it is on the field.
You know, where's the areas of improvement? What are their three better, three best that we go through?
Good team guy.
Areas in which they can improve upon, and what are the three areas that they did really well that we can continue to lean into and work towards?
I just watched his tape, man. He's pretty impressive.
Mentally and physically tough dudes.
If he comes back, that's what he has to improve on this spring.
That's really what we're hunting up.
I still have questions with reliability on the field.
If you produce, you're going to play.
It was important to be honest about what the future could hold.
I think if we gave him more and poured into him, continue, I bet he would respond. I think he would respond, but it's still that but a little bit. I hope that this is another case where you are right and I am wrong.
But as far as the conversation, I'm more. My mindset is geared towards this guy can go match up with guards.
Project himself as a player, like going to start or that can get a good amount of playing time on defense. So I think he struggled with it.
Prior to free agency, the conversation around retaining many of our own really sort of surfaced to the top.
Obviously, off the heels of our last conversation, we got Dennis, who's really our priority.
I think he's certainly an upgrade, but I understand the special teams.
Yeah.
The other guy I think we should look at in there is.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
A big piece to that is building off the momentum that was established over the last year and continuing to, create continuity. It minimizes the risk of uncertainty.
You can plug in and play.
You understand what you have, and that can be a really helpful tool.
He's had a career year in the passing game.
Well, at the same time, you don't want to disregard external options.
He wears a lot of hats for them, but I think for us, it's probably not as many.
You got to tread carefully, you got to tread lightly, you got to be very intentional, and this year's approach was very disciplined.
What do you think, Grant? He'd help us?
Yes.
It pointed towards not only the now, but also the future.
Starters, Trayvon and Josh.
Trying to lean into the idea of the compensatory formula as a tool for us to utilize moving forward was certainly at the front of our minds.
We'll have interest in players at different parts throughout the course of the draft. If we were to sign one of these guys, we cancel out a compensatory pick for 2027 by doing so.
While many may think that those compensatory picks are slotted to actually be used on draft day,
Get some stuff popping from your perspective if we were to target him in trade.
it gives us a little bit more flexibility than that. It allows us the luxury of being involved in potential trade talks over the course of this offseason and into training camp and all the way up until the deadline next fall.
You think it's going to be higher than that, Jake?
I don't.
Yeah.
Because it's 1 year.
Now we may be a bit more open to shedding future draft capital because we have picks coming in behind it to replenish and ensure that we don't have a depleted arsenal. And so those are the types of things that, we certainly walked through and strategized around and ultimately settled on as it related to our approach to free agency this past spring.
We'll go back with LBs tomorrow.
You bet.
Be off to races. We'll go RBs this afternoon at 1.
Good. Fellas.
RBs at 1.
Director of Player Finance is my title, and that generally encompasses player contract negotiations and salary cap management. Certainly it's not a one-man operation. Tim Walsh, Tara Turner work with me as well, and then obviously we report to James Gladstone, our general manager, Tony Baselli, our EVP, and it's a very collaborative process. Simplest terms I would say is you are negotiating with player agents in terms of creating and crafting player contracts that work ultimately for the team and the player, because the truth is that you want both sides to feel good about the deal and make the player feel good about what he's being paid to be here. But I guess the question is, when you're saying in year one, and I've got 50 per games of workouts, so it's 11.5 plus 500 to get to 12, does that satisfy what you're asking? I'd say in terms of the per gamers, I mean, that's fairly standard. Like, on a deal of this magnitude is not, an overwhelming number. And if you look at most of our deals, obviously that 500 fits in pretty clean.
He's a value guy, there is no doubt about it. He has done a great job of being able to piece together whether or not we're in line with what you would think the market is telling us and Obviously, that requires a lot of nuance, a lot of experience.
It's certainly not ironclad, but you know, I'd say it's pretty standard.
Now,
right?
as long as he's the starter that we've told him he's going to be, right?
I'm not saying what we want because I think it's really more about a question of what we're doing to get the deal
Tell me
done.
where everyone else is in this mix.
Being able to have a firm understanding of the priorities that we have on the football front, while at the same time not getting too off kilter as it relates to the business elements.
I'm a big believer that preparation breeds confidence, and so certainly our preparation goes back weeks, if not months, you know, for each cycle in terms of looking at how our roster is going to unfold, which players we have that are likely to become unrestricted free agents, which players we might want to extend. We always have one eye not only on the immediate year, but also into the future 2, 3, 4 years down the road. How is this move going to impact what we're doing as we move forward with the roster as well?
How much cap space do we need?
The salary cap is an amount set by the league based on shared revenues with the players, which a team cannot exceed in a given year. Cap space is the amount of room that you have under the cap in a given year.
As an RFA, they can choose not to tender him, which makes him a straight free agent.
A restricted free agent has 3 accrued seasons and his contract expires. An unrestricted free agent is a player who has had 4 accrued seasons or more whose contract expires. Anyone who has less than 3 accrued seasons whose contract expires.
He's on a contract right now for 2026 that is $23.1 million.
Standard terms, the first one that every contract has is a paragraph 5 salary, referred to as P5. Then there are signing bonuses, various roster bonuses, reporting bonuses, workout bonuses. If the player has guaranteed salary, that would be included as well as part of the P5 component.
1.25 base salary, which is guaranteed.
There are 3 different types of guaranteed salary. Guaranteed for skill, guaranteed for injury, and guaranteed for cap purposes.
Dead money.
Dead money.
Voidable years. Dead money is any money if a player is released before the expiration of that contract or when the voidable years kick in. Whatever is left on the credit card, so to speak, of those prorated payments counts on the cap in terms of dead money. Voidable years are years that a club and player agree are put at the end of a contract, typically for proration purposes, such that you are able to prorate the bonuses over those years, typically right before the following league year. Those voidable years expire and that acceleration becomes dead money.
Comp pick. If he plays, it looks like it will be a 4th.
When teams lose unrestricted free agents over a certain threshold, they become eligible for what are known as compensatory picks, which are draft picks in the following year's draft cycle. In order for a team to qualify for compensatory picks, they have to lose more free agents than they sign who are eligible for compensatory pick calculation.
So every player's signature and initial has to be a wet by hand.
As it relates to the bell ringing and external options, you're certainly keeping a pulse on the movement across the landscape. Remaining engaged with players that ultimately you'd consider if the value aligns.
All right, so we got to prepare for, Chris Rodriguez.
I think through that window we lean heavily on Trip McCracken.
2.679 of cap space. Ample space to sign one of these runners.
Free agency was quite a bit different than last, and ultimately it was rooted in the idea of discipline. I think a big piece to that waiting window, so to speak, before the new league year begins, restricted free agents are either tendered or not.
So let me ask, what is the latest, traditionally, I know we don't know,
That a team would submit.
team would let you know we're tendering or not tendering?
As it relates to restricted free agents who are tendered, the team that owns the player's rights has the optionality to dictate whether or not it's right of first refusal, if it's an original round, or if it's a higher round that they would like to tag. Should they lose the player, they then recoup as a future draft selection.
Yeah, I mean, look, once 4 o'clock hits, they can no longer tender him.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So I'm not worried about
after 4 when the wire comes out. I'm just
You know, it
saying 4
involves what any of us may think the emotional toll that comes with it is.
Seattle.
Yeah. Tendering him last minute.
Oh, tendering them last minute. Gotcha.
Which we don't control.
No, I know. Living in the tender world's a little scary, huh?
Well, at the same time, you know, I think it's been rehearsed. It's been practiced.
And if he's done, then we go to the tender offer, or the offer sheet.
It's not something that you're necessarily just reacting to. You have your plan and approach in place, and you know, you remain agile as it all unfolds in real time, and try to do your best to navigate the waters so that you remain in the hunt, so to speak, for any and all the opportunities that present themselves.
The list of those who did not get tendered just came out. Okay.
With Chris in particular, it was a relatively rapid-fire conclusion and agreement that we were able to strike over the first hour that new league year began.
3.5.
Okay. Anything in 26 that he earns becomes escalated P5.
4.5 on a 2-year?
4.5 average?
Yeah.
Will it get it done on this conversation?
Ultimately, there was just such a vivid visual for what that would look like with him on roster. That was understood not only by us, but also by him, and feel really good about where we landed and look forward to what it brings with it.
Let's go.
All right, we'll type it up, brother.
All right, buddy. Congratulations. Let me make some calls.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mike.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later.
See you. Bye.
All right, see you.
What's going on, James? Can we talk team building philosophy briefly? I mean, kind of quiet through free agency. There's been that frenzy, and Jaguars fans not necessarily used to it. Maybe a little bit of frantic waiting for you to do something there.
Man, quite a bit different than, you know, a year ago today, right? We came out the gates, what you might call as hot, signing double-digit free agents, external free agents right off the bat a year ago, and you know, the whole approach to that cycle was raise the floor of the football team, and that was a part of it. We're at a stage now where, you know, a higher volume of draft capital is what we're hunting up, and those compensatory picks. When you think about
a lot of the work for this free agency was specific to our own.
So Jack, to have Buster back, and you know, his interest in being back existed, and you know, when it's such a strong match, both parties really interested in bringing that to life.
There was a lot of dialogue prior to the bell ringing on the legal negotiation window, because we can, in fact, negotiate with players that we had under contract previously.
Duval just signed. Can't wait to get back.
Able to land on an agreement with Quentin Morris, land on an agreement with Dennis Gardeck, land on an agreement with Buster Brown. Those were really important items on the docket. And to be able to do that before the negotiation window was a big win.
The Jacksonville Jaguars have just locked in a key piece of their organization. Trayvon Walker, the former #1 overall pick, has agreed to terms on a large new contract extension. Trayvon Walker, now the latest Jaguar to get paid.
You know, with 11 picks at our disposal, with our roster where it's at, floor raised, stable space, the priorities that we have for the players we're about to add doesn't shift.
Jack, do we think if we drafted him with our second-round pick, he'd slot in as a starter?
I don't think it's much different than some of my prior experience, dating back to my time with the Rams, knowing that there were plenty of instances where a first-round pick wasn't something that we were working with.
There's definitely some that are going to fall out of the first 3 rounds. There's going to be at least one, like that would be a record. We've never seen 16 go in the first round, so at least a couple are going to end up filtering through. So.
It's a fun process here, working alongside our coaching staff, working alongside our support staff, scouting staff, analytics staff to really shape the way in which we're going to attack the draft, knowing that you know, we got a lot of at-bats, so to speak. So should be a fun little deal.
While speaking.
The truth of the matter is, I think it'd be awesome to record all this stuff and play it back.
So we could watch it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, because honestly, yes.
Just look at this.
What?
See that corner?
No? What are you pointing at?
You can't see it. It's
Oh,
camera.
it's not being recorded now, is it?
Oh, it is. Everything's
Recorded
being
for
Is it really?
100% of the time.
This is being recorded?
Oh, yeah.
So we can play back?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.